The complete horror story. Very unsettling, true, scary stories. The Memory Eater. Dr. Sarah Winters had treated over 300 patients in her 15 years as a clinical psychologist, but nothing had prepared her for patient 47. That's what we called him in the case files. A John Doe admitted to Millbrook Psychiatric Hospital in rural Vermont after police found him wandering Route 7 at 2 in the morning, covered in someone else's blood. He had no ID, no fingerprints in any database, and no memory of who he was. But that wasn't the unsettling part. The unsettling part was that anyone who spent more than an hour with him started forgetting things too. Dr. Winters, you're needed in Observation Room 3. The nurse's voice crackled through my page of that cold November morning. Patient 47 is asking for you specifically. I felt my stomach tighten. In the 3 weeks since his admission, I limited my sessions with him to exactly 55 minutes. Never an hour. Never longer. Because I'd noticed something the other doctors refused to acknowledge. Gaps in my memory after our sessions. Small things at first. Where I'd parked my car. What I'd eaten for breakfast. But the gaps were growing. Tell him I'll be there in 10 minutes. I replied, gather my notes. My colleague, Dr. Raymond Moss, intercepted me in the hallway. His eyes were bloodshot, his normally pristine appearance disheveled. Don't go in there, Sarah. Not today. Ray, you look terrible. Are you okay? He grabbed my arm, his grip uncomfortably tight. I can't remember my daughter's name. I spent 20 minutes this morning staring at her photograph, and I can't remember her goddamn name. I know I have a daughter. I can see her face. But her name... His voice cracked. It's gone. And yesterday, I remembered it perfectly. You're exhausted. You've been working too many hours. I've been working with patient 47, he interrupted, his voice barely a whisper. 3 sessions this week. 2 hours each. And now there are holes in my life. Sarah. Pieces missing. My daughter's name is just the latest. I gently pull my arm free. I'll be careful. 55 minutes maximum. It's not about time, Ray called after me as I walked away. It's about what he takes. The observation room was standard institutional gray, reinforced walls, security camera in the corner, panic button near the door. Patient 47 sat in his usual chair by the window, staring out at the autumn landscape. He was perhaps 35, with prematurely gray hair and eyes that seemed both ancient and childlike. Good morning, I said, taking my seat across from him. I understand you asked to see me? He turned slowly, and when his gaze met mine, I felt a strange vertigo, as if I were standing at the edge of a cliff. Dr. Winters, I've been waiting. We need to talk about what I am. In all our previous sessions, he'd never acknowledged his condition, never shown interest in discussing his identity. What you are, you've noticed, haven't you? The forgetting. His voice was soft, almost apologetic. It's not intentional. It's just what I do, what I've always done. My hand moved toward the panic button, then stopped. Professional curiosity warred with instinct. What do you mean? He stood and moved to the window, his movements fluid and unsettling. I don't have memories of my own, Dr. Winters. I never have. I exist in the space between other people's recollections. I'm sustained by them, fed by them. He turned to face me. I eat memories. That's not possible, I said, but even as the words left my mouth, I felt something shift in my mind, a sensation like sand slipping through fingers. Your first kiss, he said quietly. What was his name? I opened my mouth to answer and found nothing. I knew I'd had a first kiss. I was 38 years old, for God's sake. But the memory was gone, leaving only a hollow space where it should have been. Stop it. I managed, fear creeping up my spine. Whatever you're doing. I'm not doing anything right now, he said. That's already gone. Taken 3 sessions ago. You just didn't notice until I pointed it out. He stepped closer. I've been feeding carefully. Try not to take too much. But I'm so hungry, Dr. Winters. And your memories, they're rich, detailed, delicious. I lunged for the panic button, but he was faster. Not physically. He didn't touch me. But suddenly I couldn't remember why I'd stood up. I looked around the observation room, confused. Why was I standing? Sit down, doctor. Patient 47 said gently, We're having a session. I sat, feeling disconnected from my own body. We're having a session? Yes. And you were asking me about my past. His smile was sad. I'll tell you the truth. I've been alive for a very long time. Centuries, perhaps. I don't know exactly. How can I, when I have no memories of my own? I only know that I move from place to place, feeding on what makes people human, their experiences, their histories, their identities. That's not scientifically possible, I whispered, but doubt gnawed at me. What had I been doing 5 minutes ago? 10 minutes? The recent past was becoming increasingly hazy. The blood on my clothes when they found me, he continued, speaking faster now. It belonged to my previous host, a woman named Margaretchen. She'd been helping me, hiding me, for 3 years. But eventually I took too much. I always take too much. His expression twisted with something like remorse. By the end, she didn't remember her own name, didn't remember how to speak, how to eat, how to be human. Her mind was just empty, a blank slate, and then her body followed. Horror crashed over me in waves. You killed her. I erased her, he corrected. There's a difference. Margaretchen still exists in medical records, in photographs, in other people's memories. But the woman herself, her interior life, her sense of self, that inside me now, part of the collective that sustains me. I tried to stand again, but my legs wouldn't cooperate. When had I last moved? I couldn't remember. I asked to see you today because I wanted to apologize, patient 47 said, and now he was standing directly in front of me, though I hadn't seen him move. You've been kind to me, professional. You treated me like a person worth saving. But I'm not Dr. Winters. I'm a parasite, and I'm about to do something unforgivable. No, I heard myself say, but the word felt distant, borrowed from someone else's vocabulary. The staff has been limiting my contact with patients, with people. I'm starving. And you're right here. All those rich memories, that full life, your childhood summers in Maine, your medical school graduation, your mother's funeral, your failed marriage, the taste of wine on your first trip to Paris. All of it, right there behind her eyes, waiting. I felt him then, not physically, but mentally. It was like invisible fingers rifling through filing cabinets in my mind, pulling out folders, consuming their contents. My 7th birthday party. Gone. My first published paper. Vanishing. The face of my college roommate. Disappearing into static. Please, I begged, tears streaming down my face. Please stop. I can't, he whispered, and I saw tears in his eyes too. I'm so sorry, but I can't. The next hours, or was it days, passed in a nightmarish blur. I was aware of him sitting across from me, of orderlies checking on us periodically, of time passing. But my sense of self was dissolving, piece by piece, memory by memory. My name. I knew my name. Dr. Sarah. Sarah, the rest wouldn't come. I worked somewhere. A hospital? Yes. But what did I do there? The knowledge slipped away like water through a sieve. I had been married once. Or had I? The certainty faded even as I grasped for it. At some point, I don't know when, Patient 47 leaned forward and took my hand. His touch was cold. "I'm leaving you the essentials," he said softly. "How to walk, talk, eat. Basic functions. It's more than I left Margaret. See? I do care." I tried to respond, but I couldn't remember how words worked. What were these sounds? Why was this person holding my hand? Who was I? The last coherent thought I remember having was a desperate realization. I was disappearing. Not my body. That would remain a breathing husk that looked like Dr. Sarah Winters. But everything that made me was being consumed by the thing sitting across from me, feeding itself on the substance of my life. And then, even that thought was gone. They found us the next morning during rounds. Patient 47 was unconscious, his body finally satiated. I was sitting upright in my chair, eyes open, breathing steadily. But when they spoke to me, I didn't respond. When they showed me my hospital ID badge, I stared at it without recognition. When they brought in my ex-husband, desperately hoping for some spark of memory, I looked at him with the blank curiosity of someone seeing a stranger. Dr. Raymond Moss was the one who found Patient 47's journal hidden in his room. The pages detailed everything: his nature, his victims spanning centuries, the guilt he carried for crimes he couldn't stop committing. The final entry was dated the night before our session. "Dr. Winters is a good person. She deserves better than what I'm about to do. But I'm so hungry and she's so close, and I'm too weak to resist. Tomorrow, I'll take everything she is. And the worst part is, once it's done, she won't even remember enough to hate me for it. She won't remember anything at all." They transferred Patient 47 to a maximum security facility. Last I heard, they keep him in total isolation, limiting all human contact. But it doesn't matter. The damage is done. I'm writing this in my journal, one the nurses gave me to help with cognitive rehabilitation. But I'm not writing about my recovery, because there is no recovery. I'm writing about what happened to me in that room, piecing it together from case files and witness statements. My name is Sarah Winters. Apparently, I was a psychologist. I had a life, a history, experiences that made me who I was. But I don't remember any of it. Every morning, I wake up as a blank slate, and every evening, I read this journal to learn who I used to be. The doctors say there's hope, that memories might return. But they don't understand what really happened in that observation room. Patient 47 didn't just steal my memories. He ate my soul. And you can't grow back something that's been completely devoured.